Is going on, everybody? This is your man, Big B, Brian Hanley, along with Big G, and welcome to Steelers Almighty, the Big Show. We are back with another edition, talking Pittsburgh Steelers football. I appreciate everybody being in here. Big G, first off, thank you again for joining us today, man. Look, I'm on the IR. I got a tooth pulled. I am on the IR. Y'all can see my mouth is swollen, my face is swollen, but I'm still out here doing it for you guys. So if I start spitting everywhere and slobbering everywhere, I apologize. It is what it is. But we got to make it happen. We got to talk football, Big G. How you doing, my man?
Man, I'm great, man. Great to be back with the big show, man, over here on Steelers Almighty, man. Now, listen, I got to get a little comfortable, man. So I got to hit y'all with the algorithm sign right now. Make sure you get your algorithms up. You hit the like, subscribe. This is one of the fastest growing podcast networks out there. So make sure you help these people over here and help me a little bit. Come on in the chat and let's talk Steelers football, man.
Absolutely, man. Like I said, Big G's right. Steelers Almighty, fastest growing Steelers channel on YouTube right now. We appreciate all the support that you guys have given us. We are right on the cusp of 4,200 subscribers since April 4th of this year. So I appreciate everything that you guys have done for us, man. So make sure when you're on tonight, if you want to get on, you want to get your question put up, your comment, all that good stuff, you know how to do that. Super chats are wide open. So if you want to make sure you jump to the front of the line, make sure you do that. We're going to break down everything, talking about little updates today as far as injuries. Go over my report card. We'll have Big G grade me on my grading system, and then we'll talk about the next week's opponent, these punk-ass Baltimore Ravens. So without further ado, let's get into this, man.
Hey B, I gotta ask you a question, man.
Yeah,
'Cause you know I get on with the sign game every week,
absolutely.
man. For the show, I tell the Baltimore Ravens to kick rocks every dang on week, man. Get that trash out of here. Get that garbage out of here. It's
Yeah,
Baltimore Reed. We're so disrespected across the national media. So we're gonna talk that yak tonight, bro. We're gonna talk
absolutely.
it.
Absolutely. I just again, we played them in the last 8 games. Steelers have won 7 of them. So
That's
take it for how
facts.
you will. Take it for
Yeah,
how
that's
you will. It is what it is. So let's get into it, man. First things first, the updates on the Steelers. I know everybody was wondering, everybody was hoping.
yeah,
Alex Highsmith, he's gonna be out, Big G. But
yeah.
it's not near as bad as what we thought. When we first saw it, I think a lot of people thought that his ankle was dislocated, it was broken, it looked horrible.
Yeah.
2 to 3 weeks, man. 2 to 3 weeks.
Fact. Yeah,
So if he
facts.
can come back after 2 to 3 weeks, I feel good about that. Never want to see anybody get hurt, Big G, but only 2 to 3 weeks is a good thing.
Yeah, at first, man, I thought he was cooked, bro. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna front with you. I thought it was all over with. I thought he was cooked. I thought it was over. And going into it looking 2 to 3 weeks, I'll take it. But the issue is, man, and I think we're going to get into this conversation. The depth of the Steelers is going to play itself out to be able to help us and put us in position to win. So we're not so pressed to have Highsmith right away, but we need that rascal to be able to win some games this year for the Steelers, bro.
Well, the thing about it is that what goes unnoticed, Big G, by people outside of Pittsburgh, Alex Highsmith is one of the best edge rushers in the National Football League.
Facts.
And people don't say that enough because he plays opposite of TJ Watt. Well,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, he does play opposite of TJ Watt, but that doesn't mean that he's not one of the best edge rushers in the National Football League. He just is, my
Mm.
man. He just is.
Oh, I agree. I mean, most people don't. He don't get his respect.
Nope.
But the issue is, like you said, it's opposite. But if he was on any other team, he'd be their primary.
Yeah.
So he would put up serviceable numbers, not necessarily Watt's numbers, because Watt's numbers every year is historic.
Right.
But he would put up serviceable numbers to just cause havoc in the league. And that combination is deadly. So losing him hurts, but I'm glad we did what we did.
I'm the same way. Losing him hurts. But you know what? Omar Khan, again, Preston Smith, having him come in. We'll get into that a little bit later. Our producer, D. Howard, somehow doesn't believe that Preston Smith had a good game. I don't know what he's talking about, but we're going to have to get on him about it. He doesn't. Preston Smith was outstanding for the
You
Steelers
see,
on Sunday, man.
You see what sign
Outstanding,
I
Big
put up?
G.
You see what sign I put up, bro? Straight cap. That's cap, man. D. Howard, that's cap. Get up out of here with that trash, man. That don't work, bro. He ain't released. Come on, bro.
Absolutely, man. So, but that's kind of the news, the injury update. It looks like Nick Herbig is going to be back, and we need him. This is a good time for him to come back. Thought last week he was going to come back, but I think the Steelers kind of felt, you know what? Let's give him another week.
Yeah,
We got Preston Smith here. There's
yeah,
no reason to rush him to come back when he doesn't necessarily have to.
yeah,
But now we need him.
yeah.
Now we need him. I would suspect, and you tell me what you think, Big G. I would suspect him and Preston Smith maybe split reps, and then
Yeah.
somebody give help on TJ on the other side.
I can see that happening, but I know eventually TJ is going to need a blow.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see downs based on distance and wherever they're at located on the field, where you have Herbig and Smith on both sides anchoring it. We talked about this off screen. I think Jeremiah Moon might get a look or two, especially considering the fact that it's the Baltimore Ravens and he wants some get back for the get back.
Right.
But to play him on long snaps, no. So
No.
they're going to have to figure out some kind of way with the rotation because I think Watt looked fresh in the fourth quarter because they sat him out a little bit. And boy, did we need both him and Highsmith. And thank goodness, with Highsmith getting hurt, we had Watt fresh enough to continue to cause havoc, for our defense, man.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It's going to be a team effort. They're going to have to help each other. Again, Watt, they took him out of the game last week. As far as the Washington Commanders, they were sending 2 and 3 guys to block him every play. And it was funny, Big G, because they kept talking about that and showing it on TV. And then the one time they single block him in a passing situation, he hits Jaden Daniels' arm and damn near forces a fumble.
That's
I'm like,
facts.
the man is just incredible, Big G. He's incredible.
He is a generational defensive lineman, edge rusher, whatever you want to call him. They don't make him like this. But hey, man, B, I gotta ask you a question, bro, because I went on a soapbox with this.
Okay,
Did they hold that boy in the end zone, bro?
100%.
That was ridiculous, man. I said, come on, man. What is holding in the NFL? Can we get one flag to drop on the field, bro?
And not only was it holding, the ref was standing less than 8 yards away, looking right at it, and all he does is just tap TJ. Hey, sorry. Hey, good job. And I'm like, yeah, it was holding. I'm like, come on, what are you doing? Don't talk to me about how it was holding. Just throw the flag. I don't
Yeah,
need you to do anything. I don't need a conversation. I don't need anything but just throw the damn flag. Period. End of the discussion. And it happened a lot. But I don't know. Because TJ gets held every play, and I know a lot of guys get held. But at some point, don't you have to call some of them? You have
yeah,
to call some of them.
But nobody gets held like TJ Watt. I think the
No.
percentage of holding with him, it's got to be over the 40% mark.
Yeah.
And when you actually, if you're a film studier like me and you get on with, bro, you go and look at it and you're rewinding. I mean, this is blatant, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like, come on, man. If you get picked up by your shoulder pads, because that's what happened to him. He
Yeah.
got picked up by his shoulder pads, and he didn't have the bottom part of the pad. He had the top part, and he basically finned him. So he couldn't go anywhere because almost his feet was off the ground, man. Come
Yeah.
on, bro. Come
Yeah.
on, man.
That was
Call
just
that flag.
Yeah, that was bad, and it was in the end zone. I'm sorry, that's 2 points for us. They
Yeah,
also missed a holding on the extra point
yeah.
where they grabbed
Facts.
Dante Jackson. I'm like, well, and then the ref walked over to the end man on the line of scrimmage for the Commanders and was like, "Hey, stop holding." And I'm like, I'm sorry. How about you just throw the flag? Nobody wants
Facts.
to hear anything. Just throw the flag. It was
Yeah,
holding. We all saw it. What are
yeah,
you doing? So I don't know.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but let's move on, man. Let's move on. So the report card that I came out with,
Lord have mercy.
it wasn't too bad
Lord.
this week, Big
Yeah,
G.
yeah.
It wasn't too bad. Look, I was the first person to say, and we talked a little bit off air, is I don't think this was the Steelers' best game. I really don't. So I graded it accordingly, just like I do every single week. I wasn't too tough, but it just wasn't the Steelers' best game. So let's get into it a little bit.
Yeah.
So as far as quarterback is concerned, look, Russ, statistically, he wasn't good. 14
Facts.
for 28. He didn't have his best day, but red zone, Big G. We've been complaining about it. 3 touchdowns. Now, one of them was just outside the red zone, but he threw for 3 touchdowns.
Mhm.
He threw a pick, but the pick was more like a punt to get us out of there.
Mhm.
But so he was efficient in the red zone. He was inaccurate basically in the middle of the football game. Didn't like that. Didn't get us in and out of some plays that I thought he should have got us out. But overall, he wasn't horrible. He was under duress too, a
Facts.
lot. He was under duress, but it wasn't his best game. But he made the play at the end when we needed it for us to win. So I
Mhm.
gave Russ a C, man. I gave him a C.
Yeah, I like the grade. I might have maybe a little bit higher on the curve just because I don't think, and like I said, man, I'll preface this all the time. Me and you watch film. So I don't think people realize in the check down game and being able to flip the play, how much Russie actually does pre-snap for the Steelers.
Yeah,
And so because of that, he gets us out of bad plays. And when I went back and watched the film, I saw at least 4 times where I knew what the play was coming based on distance down, how they lined up in formation. Oh, I'm like, yeah, they're going left. And
yeah,
I hear the cadence, and I'm like, he flipped it. So, that's why I always give Russie a little bit higher. Where like Justin, I would just give him a straight grade. Where Russie, I always grade a little bit on the curve because that's stuff you don't see in the game. But if you understand the game, you know that the quarterback has to master that. And
yeah.
that Russie is a master at doing it. So I give him a C plus, bro.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, and there was a couple things I put out in the all 22. If anybody hadn't seen that, make sure you go check it out. Russ didn't get us out of a couple of plays, and that's another reason, Big G, why I
Mm.
gave him the grade because I'm like, look, Russ, you see it, you can count it. There's too
Yeah.
many guys. You got to go the other way, and he
Yeah.
didn't do it. So,
Yeah.
but I think it's
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah. That's fair.
Moving on to running back. Look, this wasn't Najee's best game, and running back is so hard, Big G, and you know
Yeah.
why.
Mhm.
You're dependent on other guys doing their job for you to be able to do your job.
Facts.
So it was tough. Najee didn't have a great game. Jalen Warren was having a good game, but Big G, I'll let you take this. I don't care what. You cannot fumble on my football field. You just cannot.
Man.
Go ahead and take it away.
Well, people that know the Steelers, has been around the Steelers forever, in camp at Latrobe, you know what the fumble and putting the ball on the ground is? Hit the block, bruh. You about to go give me this full lap on around here and then sit down and be out of gas, and then we're gonna put you right back in the next play, and you better not put it on the ground. That is something they practice and they condition at all times. So in football, the ball can never hit the ground. Now, I understand that the referees were talking about the momentum, and they normally for other teams they would call it. They say it was stopped, but Steelers running backs push for extra yards on every single freaking play. So Jalen Warren, you can't drop the ball on the 1 yard line. I know you were getting in there. I know you were trying to push for a touchdown, but you just can't have it.
Nope.
So I like the effort, but you can't put the ball on the ground, bro.
No, cannot put the ball on the ground. There is no excuse. I will say this about Jalen Warren. That's why I always say he's not a 20 to 25 touch a game guy because we've seen that before. He gets a little tired and he has
Fact.
the drops. He gets the
Mhm.
fumbles. And that's why I'm like, he's perfect in his role. And that's what happened here. What was it, 4 times in a row? The Steelers gave it to him.
Right.
This last one, he got tired, and the next thing you know, he's fumbling the football. I'm sorry, you just can't, Big G. You cannot fumble my football no matter what. So on this grade, I gave the running backs a C.
I
Would have
agree.
been higher, but I
Mhm.
got to deduct for that fumble, Big G.
Yeah. I think, well, what I want to see moving forward, bro, is I want to see Cordell Patterson implemented more into the running game because I still think he's got some energy in the tank and he can push. So I like the rotation of making sure that Warren and Najee get their carries. But when you know Warren's gas, like you pointed out, 3 and 4 carries in a row, man, flip them boys out. And if Najee's not ready to go, put Patterson in. So I feel okay with any running back, but that is a coaching issue. You got to understand what's going on with your players, where they're at as far as the game. And if you need those yards, I think Patterson at times can be as explosive as Warren. So I agree with the C, bro. I agree with
Yeah.
it.
So moving on, look, the wide receiving room, when they got their opportunities, I thought they were fine.
Yeah.
Pat Fryermuth, I still think he got 3 targets, 3 receptions, only 17 yards, but a touchdown. Got to get him more involved. You got
Yeah.
to get him more involved down the seam, Big G. Um,
Facts.
Darnell Washington had another catch. He should have had another one. The ball went right by his head. He wasn't even looking. Like he's
Yeah,
running down the
like
field.
this.
I'm like, man, turn around. The ball's about to hit you in the ear.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, facts. Yeah.
So um, excuse me, but George Pickens did his thing again. I don't like how George Pickens was holding the ball on the sideline, but give the man opportunity. 7 targets, 5 catches, 95 yards, a touchdown. George Pickens is just amazing.
Yeah.
But I will say I don't want to see him holding the ball like that. It already came back to bite us once in Indianapolis where he fumbled inside the 10-yard line. Just hold on to the ball, man. It doesn't matter. Just tuck it away.
Facts.
You want to hop and skip and jump, do all that, but tuck the ball away.
Mhm.
Other than that, I thought they had a pretty good day. I thought Russ was trying to have Van Jefferson and Calvin Austin, Big G, do stuff like 50-50 balls. That's not their game.
Yeah.
That is not their game at all, man. You got to get Mike Williams out there. And lo and behold, as soon as they did and they gave him an opportunity, Big G, touchdown. So I gave the wide receivers a B+ on the day.
Man, I agree with the grade, but man, what did I tell you last week? I said right away, who's going to make the bigger impact is going to be Williams. But
Yep.
I said going forward, Smith is going to help us even more. And I'm telling you, I was almost like the G Stradamus with it, bro. I was G Stradamus with it, saying what was going to happen. Because listen, if Austin gets hurt, they take him off the field. Russie throws up a moon ball, right?
Yes.
That's Mike Williams' game.
Yes.
First catch for the Steelers, touchdown, victory, seal it. So yeah, I'm feeling it, and I like the B+, and I like our trajectory where we're headed, bro. This week against Baltimore, this could be an A. This could be an A game for them.
It absolutely could. And to be honest with you, I think it needs to be for us to win.
Yeah.
Their secondary is trash. Their
Garbage.
whole back end, trash.
Mhm.
Steelers got to take advantage.
Yeah.
We'll get to that here in a minute. Offensive line. Now, look. Come on, Big G. Come on, man.
I know you're gonna go hard on him, man. I already know, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna go hard on him, and I have to. Look, Mason McCormick took 2 steps back. He was pathetic in this game. He was bad. Zach Frazier was okay, but Mason McCormick, he was bad. Isaac was bad. Dan Moore was just okay. He wasn't terrible. But I tell you what, the best offensive lineman of the day for the Steelers was Broderick Jones. I mean, you can go back and look at the tape. You can do whatever you want. He wasn't perfect, but he was the best offensive lineman that the Steelers had on Sunday against the Commanders. And you all know how hard I've been on him. But the fact of the matter is he was really good this week. And I told y'all when he was good, I was going to tell you he was good. And Big G, when he was bad, I'd tell you he's bad. Broderick Jones was good.
Yeah, agreed. Broderick Jones is the only offensive lineman that I gave on a personal grade over 75%.
Yep.
He was somewhere around 76, 77%. He did outstanding job in pass pro and in run blocking, right? But the issue was with, you know, man, we know from playing football and all whatever else. A tackle is only good as his guard.
Correct.
And so when your guard is having a horrible game, you're not going to look as good. So if we could have put it together with the tackle and the guard having a great game, oh my God, we probably would have destroyed the Commanders on that side of the ball.
Right.
I mean, that side of the line. But he had a good game. Like you said, Dan Moore was serviceable. But this is the first game I see McCormick look like a rookie.
Yeah.
And Big B, we can't have that with the Ravens, man.
No.
We got to put this thing together this week. So I agree with the grade, but come on, Steelers. Come on, Steelers. I need some dang on effort up out of you this week. That offensive line, you got to move up. If not, somebody's going to the bench.
Somebody's got to do something, because I gave him a D on the day.
Yeah.
And it was warranted because, look, even on that last touchdown play, like I mentioned, y'all go check out the All 22. On that last touchdown pass, 4 of the 5 offensive linemen got beat on the play, got whipped on the play. And I'm like, holy cow, Russ I got to get it out of here and go make a play. Because 4 of them literally got whipped. It just was not our best day, but it was enough. It was enough. So overall, for the offense, I gave the offense a C. Look, 3.3 yards a rush, that's not going to get it done. 312 yards of total offense. Now, I get it, Big G. Hell, what was the last 2 years? we couldn't buy a 300-yard game.
Never, never, never. We could never a 300-yard game. It wasn't happening, bro.
Exactly. We literally couldn't buy one. But I gave him a C overall. It wasn't our best game, but it was enough to win, and I will take it, my man.
I agree. I agree with the grade. And like I said, man, we get to moving furniture around sometimes because the conversations get tough.
They do.
But this week I believe in totality that it was fair grade, and I almost expected it because I know how. And NFL players don't look ahead, but they don't be telling facts.
Correct.
They circled the wagons of this game of Baltimore. So I like the
Absolutely.
grade, and I think moving forward we're gonna get it in, man.
Absolutely. We got our first super chat of the day. Our man Clayton said we got control, or we have to control the line of scrimmage on both sides. Absolutely. And I know you could say that about every team, but the Steelers, the way they want to play, the Steelers got to control the line of scrimmage. Got to control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. As much as we want to run it and as much as we want to stop the run, that's what the Steelers are built on, is controlling the line of scrimmage. So Clayton, he's 1,000% correct, Big G.
Facts, 100%.
So let's move on. Before we do, man, again, we want to let everybody know, again, thank you guys for showing up. If you want to get your question or your rant up on the screen, you know exactly how to do that. Clayton showed you the way. Super chats are wide open. That'll get you right to the front of the line and will get you put up there. So it's just a simple way to be able to help support the channel. We appreciate you.
Facts.
As far as defense, so Cam Hayward on the defensive line just dominated. He had 2 sacks, another 2 tackles for loss, 2 hits on the quarterback. Old Cam just came in and wrecked shop and did what he needed to do. Again, I include the outside rushers as our D linemen, as I mentioned before, Big G, just because we were in nickel. Again, we were in nickel this game 58% of the time. So even a higher percentage of the time we were in nickel. So look, they took away what we were trying to do as far as outside rushers. They just did. But that meant people were going to be single blocked. Cam Hayward showed up big. I gave the D-line, plus what they did in the run game, I gave him a B. That might be a little bit too hard, but I gave him a B, Big G.
I agree with it, except for I might just edge him up a little bit with a B+. And the reason why is because we know based on scheme that teams are actually moving towards taking away the outside edge. So the blocking for the offensive lineman is always going to be step to the outside. So knowing that, and you know how I feel about TJ Watt, he gets chipped 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times.
Yeah.
And now Highsmith is now starting to get chipped.
Yep.
So they're keeping an extra blocker and all whatever else to be able to stop them from penetrating on the outside. So because of that, I've watched the interior of the Steelers line now more than ever. And by doing that, I saw a good game not just out of Hayward, but I saw a good game out of Benton. Benton played a good game for what he was called on to do. So that's why I edge him up maybe with a B+ versus a B, because I think moving forward, teams are going to do that, and I think there's something happening within the confines of the Steelers' interior 3, knowing that they know the pressure's on them to shut the game down from the run aspect.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Probably a little bit too tough. Should have probably bumped it up to a B+. You're right. Got another super chat from our man, Luke Cage. It says, Warren gets his back against his old squad.
I ain't mad. I ain't mad at what he's saying, man. I ain't mad at what he's saying. I agree with it a little bit, but we'll see, man. We'll see. We don't want to talk too strong. And I'm not the guy scared of those rat birds.
No.
So I ain't worried about it. But there's enough bulletin board material out there right now by the national media disrespecting us and the bookies saying we're a 3.5 home point dog. Come on, media. Y'all tripping, man. Let's go.
And I know what he meant. He meant Queen gets his get back. That's who he was talking about, is Queen gets his get back against his old team. So I understand. I don't know. Just play well. We just need him to play well. And speaking of that, that's a good segue into linebackers. Patrick Queen played the best game that he played all season for the Pittsburgh Steelers against Commanders, man. He showed up. He showed out. Big G, he flashed early. He flashed often. He had 7 tackles, 6 solo. He was everywhere, man. 2 tackles for loss. Patrick Queen was everywhere. This is what the Steelers paid for, man. Now, look, Peyton Wilson didn't play as much because I told you last week teams were isolating him in the nickel and running right at him. The
Facts.
Steelers implemented Elandon Roberts. Lo and
Mhm.
behold, the Commanders couldn't run the football. They run it for 60 yards. Wilson didn't play very many snaps. I think it was like 22 compared to, I think, the 40 or something of Elandon Roberts. Either
Facts.
way, he didn't play as much. The run defense got better. I gave the linebackers an A.
Whoa.
Yeah, I gave them
Hey,
an A.
hey, I'm shocked at that grade. Because we didn't talk about this before. Man, okay? I'm with it. I maybe would have gave him an A minus just because I know in some of those down and distances and sets that the nickel guy has to make his way through. They were handling as far as like when they were running the underneath stuff, but on some of those outside stuff, I was like, man. I mean, now Queen, don't get me wrong, sideline to sideline, he was getting there. But the thing that I need to see out of the Steelers, man, and I think we're going to see it this game, when we send pressure from our linebacker position, we have to get home onto the quarterback. We're
Right.
not sending pressure to just put in his face and scare him a little bit. And with Lamar, he's the type of guy that when we send you, put him on the ground.
Right.
So I'm looking for the A grade next this week. So I give him the A minus, but I'm with you, man. I'm in that A territory for this week's grade, bro.
Yeah, I just for what they did in the run game as well, I just gave them an A. I thought this was the best game that our linebacker group has played this year. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Moving on, defensive backs. Look, there was too many penalties. Joey Porter Jr. got cooked. Let's just call it what it is. He got cooked. Was not a good game for him. It was ugly. And
Yeah.
then he got in his own head a little bit when he didn't have to. He was panicking. Dante Jackson got some penalties. It just wasn't a good week for the defensive backs for the Pittsburgh Steelers this week. Now, having said that, I thought Minka Fitzpatrick was fine. And I
Facts.
thought Deshaun Elliott were fine. But
Mhm.
there are only a few of the guys that are back there. Look, they dropped a couple of passes where guys were wide open too. We got to admit that. So I gave the defensive backs a C minus on the day, my man.
Ooh, B, man, you out there killing them boys, man. I mean, listen, B, we only gave up 242 yards of total on offense against us, man. And a lot of that wasn't passing. And the Washington Commanders was one of the highest ranking offenses, especially passing offenses in the NFL. So you're a little harsh with that C minus, bro. You out there killing them.
Well,
I think. Go ahead.
no. Here's the thing. You think about there was 3 drop passes on crossing routes. If they complete those, you can add
Yeah,
a minimum of 50 more yards to that total. Okay.
facts. Facts.
So then you think about, well, hell, how many yards did we give them in penalties? Because of defensive
Facts.
holding, defensive pass interference. I go, so while we only gave up 242, it could have been 218. I
Yeah,
go, but we're giving up those yards. So, and it was the defensive backs that did it. So
yeah.
that's the reason for the grade, man. That's all.
I don't like I said, I don't disagree. I think I would have put him closer to a C. But let me just say this, man. With the Commanders, they have similar receivers as the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
Little small scat back guys, Terry McLaurin, know his whole family, been around him, know he's from Indianapolis, right here close to me. His family grew up right here in the little hometown I'm from. So there's small scat back guys. They could get open in a phone booth.
Yeah.
So the Steelers defensive backs are not built like that. Most of the Steelers defensive backs are avatars, tall, lanky, strong, able to hold guys on press man. So I think it was a good warm up for them for this week moving forward with Baltimore because we're going to need those type of guys. We're going to need those guys to play that press and send pressure after Lamar. So
Absolutely.
and listen, I hate that zone, bro. I
Yeah.
hate when they go cover 3. I'm like, oh, get out of that, bro. Get
Yeah.
out of that, man. But they do it a lot. So we're going to see this week against the Ravens. But I'm close to the grade. I agree with you, bro.
Well, and here is another super chat. My man Clayton says the first play of the second half, they gashed us. They must have seen something. Yes, they did. Just what you're talking about. We were in cover 2, and they
Yeah.
hit that seam right in the middle of cover 2 to Terry McLaurin. Mika
Yeah.
missed the tackle, and he was off to the races. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think they just said, you know what? We give him this look. If we get that, we're going to hit this seam. And if he misses the tackle, that's all we're going to get. And they
House.
did, and he
Yeah.
was out the gate. So,
Mm-hmm.
you're right. The Steelers aren't great in zone. They haven't been
Mm-hmm.
great all year. I don't like it. man up. You're much better in man. I know you're chasing sometimes, but you're always chasing as a DB.
Yeah.
That's part of the job. It's part of
Yeah.
the job. So overall, as far as the Steelers look, like you mentioned, 242 yards to a team that was averaging 392 yards a game.
Facts.
That's pretty good stuff.
Mhm.
Regardless of what I'm talking about, the DBs, you still only gave up 242 yards.
Mhm.
So I like what we did overall as a whole. They were also only 5 of 14, Big G, on third down. Steelers defense did their job, man. They did their job. Now, you're going to think I'm crazy, but overall, I gave the defense a B. I gave the defense a B.
Okay, so we got a C, a B, a C, and a C. I like it. I don't disagree with it. I think but that puts room for improvement, man. And that's
Yeah,
the real truth of the matter of it. That puts room for improvement, and we know what we're targeting this week with the Ravens. So I agree with it. And listen, to get out of there with a B and a lose like Highsmith for several weeks, hey, hey, I'm with it, man. And we gave
right.
him a short field, so we'll talk about that in the middle with the special
Yeah, we
teams.
did. We did. We
Yeah.
gave him a short field. Now, with special teams, look, um, it's more than just the fake punt. The fake punt, look, I like the call. Nobody's covering your gunner. Throw it
Uh-huh.
to him. Guys got
Fact.
to complete the play. The
Mhm.
period, end of story. Now, it didn't work. So somebody's got to take advantage of that. But it's not just that. The kickoffs were short by Boswell this week. They were
Mm.
short. We gave up a ton of yardage on them. So the kick coverage wasn't very good. Corliss Waitman was okay. He shanked one. Well, he hadn't
Mhm.
shanked one all year. He shanked one. So we gave him short fields. Boz couldn't do anything. He didn't need to do anything in the red zone because we were scoring touchdowns, thank God.
Yeah.
But I gave the special teams this week a C plus. I didn't think it was great this week.
Yeah, this is the first week in probably all the season that the Steelers, to me, did not get an A concerning special team grade. Now, if they would have completed the fake punt, because he had about 25 to 30 yards of running, man, he still might be running right now. Who knows? He would,
Yeah,
but I think he beats one man and he gets to the end zone. So that play changed the complexity of what happened for the Steelers. But I agree wholeheartedly about the kickoff and punt return coverage and how it happened. They were giving up too many yards from the kickoff standpoint, letting them move the ball forward and forward and forward every time. And it seemed like it got worse. Every time we kicked it off, the guy ran a little bit closer to the 50-yard line. And I'm like, listen, kick the ball out of that back of the end zone every
yes.
single freaking time, bro. That's what the rules for. So that way we don't have to deal with this shenanigans. Don't kick it to a guy. Kick it out the back of the end zone every time.
Yep. Yeah, I think what it was, and I know there was a swirling wind, and so I understand that part. I don't want to make excuses for Boswell. He's in my opinion, he's the best kicker in the league. Um,
Facts.
but the big thing was it happened, and we can't
Uh,
say that it didn't happen when it actually happened. He was kicking it short, and our coverage more than anything, even regardless of what Boswell was doing, the coverage was bad, Big G. The
yeah.
coverage in itself was bad. Let me get to this super chat real quick. Again, from my man Clayton. Do you think Boz was kicking it short on purpose? I don't think so because
No.
he kicked one out of the end zone.
Uh,
I don't think he was kicking it short on purpose. Especially when our coverage wasn't good.
yeah.
If our coverage was really good and we were able to pin him inside the 20, then yeah, I would say, okay, he's kicking it short on purpose. But since that wasn't the case, I just think it was just an off day. Guys have it,
Yeah.
man. It just happens.
I gave him a higher grade in the punt game too, man, because what we were able to do. We forced some fumble. That kick returner for the Commanders was shook.
Yeah, it
After that
was.
first one, boy, I was like, "Oh
Yeah.
God!" Like you circle the wagons. You like, okay, who's it going to be? Who's it? There's my victim. And so once they saw that, and he had deer, like eyes like deer in headlights, it was over, bro. I was like, "Oh
Correct.
yeah, oh he's going to mess up again." And sure enough, he messed up. So that's why I give him just a little bit higher of a grade, bro.
Right. No, I'm with you. I'm with you. Overall, on the day, like I said, the defense was pretty good. The offense better in the red zone. Not our best day. Look, I'm hard on the Steelers, man. I am because I know how good they can be. So
Facts.
overall, Big G, I gave them a C because I think the Steelers won in spite of themselves. Now you
Mhm.
could say that Washington's a really good football team, and they are, and so they caused some of our problems. But
Yeah,
going back and
facts.
looking at it, it was a lot us versus more of them. and I just think we could have been better. So on the day, I gave him a C.
I agree. Especially after watching the All 22 film, man, and sitting back and looking at it and actually trying to break the game down and seeing what was what. Absolutely, because we killed ourselves on multiple plays,
Yeah.
and you know what? People talk about the fumble on the one, yes. They talk about the punt opportunity for the fake punt, yes. But I'm with you, man, as far as the defensive backs and what we were giving them concerning holding calls and all that other shenanigans going on in defense. If we don't hold and all whatever else and get those defensive penalties, man, they don't even get the score's not even close
Nope.
because they never really sustained like one drive. That was it, the whole freaking game.
Yeah.
Everything else, it was because of stuff we did to ourselves versus allowing the Commanders to actually beat us. So I know this week, man, it ain't going down like that, bro. It ain't happening.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Now that's what we're going to get to next. We're going to talk about these crazy, crazy Ravens. But again, before we do, just want to remind everybody, continue to like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff, man. Steelers Almighty, fastest growing Steelers channel on YouTube. We are glad that Big G has joined us. We appreciate his presence here.
Facts.
We're having
Appreciate
fun,
it.
man. This is a great show, the Big G show, or the Big Show, excuse me, with Big B and Big G, man. This is good, good stuff. Appreciate y'all being out there. Again, if you want your question or your rant or anything put up on the screen, you know how to do that, man. Super chats are wide open, and we appreciate what you guys do to help support the channel.
Facts.
So let's talk about these Ravens. First thing, I'm going to give it to you, Big G, to start us off on these damn Baltimore Ravens.
I can't listen. If there's one team in the NFL I despise, it is the Baltimore Ravens, man. Baltimore Ravens, week, I get lathered up, I get hyped up, and I'm like, man, I can't stand the Ravens because the issue is they think and believe that they are the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
When they came back, when the Cleveland Browns moved from Cleveland and they moved to Baltimore, their whole thing was we're going to build a team like the Steelers. So they built a bully, and I don't got to go back in history with the Ray Lewis, the Ed Reeds, the T Suggs, all that type stuff going on, Saragusa
Right.
and all whatever else. They build a team like us.
Yeah.
So, but you can't be the big brother if you're the little brother. And we've shown even in recent history, the Baltimore Ravens is the little brother. We
Yeah.
own Lamar Jackson. We own them. We won 7 of the last 8 games against them. So what are you talking about? You guys are not on our level. You're not with us. You need to sit back and chill and look at it. And some guy told me, one Ravens fan I work with, well, we got the 2-time MVP. So who cares?
Nobody
Look,
cares.
who cares about that? That stuff don't count for W's and L's. I want dubs. So this week, man, let's get it done, man, and let's break the game down. I mean, what we're going to see for the Baltimore Ravens, bro.
Yeah, that's the thing for me is like, look, Baltimore is built the same way that the Steelers are built. Now, the only thing that you could say is different, they have a super dynamic quarterback. Okay, I get it. They do. But it's just like you said, Big G. We've handled Lamar Jackson in the past when he's playing well. Last year in his MVP season, he won the MVP last year, and we beat him.
Facts.
And I don't want to hear, well, it was early. He wasn't playing as well. That's not our problem. I don't care. Have you ever thought that maybe it's the Steelers that make him play bad against us?
Yeah, facts.
Can we get credit for that? The bottom line is, yes, the Ravens offense is really good. The Steelers defense is really good. So we're going to have to come to play. They do have those scat back receivers like you mentioned. And everybody talking about the back end of the schedule, and the Baltimore Ravens are 2 of those games on the back end. I get it. But what defense, and we're specifically talking about the Ravens, so we won't even talk about anybody else. But the Ravens' pass defense is horrific. It's not bad, Big G. It's not terrible. It is atrocious. And the Steelers are going to be able to take advantage of it. Teams with a worse quarterback and worse wide receivers have gone up and down the field. The Raiders went up and down the field on the Ravens secondary. And you're telling me that Steelers can't do that? Of course we can, man. Especially the way we can run the ball. And people talk, well, they're really stout against the run. Yeah, I get it, because nobody needs to run the ball on them. They just throw it over their head. I go, so I understand that. I go, but I think the Steelers got an advantage in this game, Big G.
Oh, I agree. Because first of all, we got some punishment coming for Big Boy. I'm telling you right now, I'm predicting it. Orlando Roberts and Big Boy Henry gonna meet somewhere, and when it happens, it's gonna get ugly, bro. It's gonna get ugly. And I think if you hit Henry a whole bunch of times by the third and the fourth quarter, Henry ain't Henry. We saw that already with the Kansas City Chiefs at the very beginning of the game. They came out like gangbusters, giving him the ball, giving him the ball, giving him the ball, and then all of a sudden in the fourth quarter he disappeared because they got dog defensive linemen, dog edge rushers, just like we have with the Steelers. So I ain't worrying about that. But what I am concerns me a little bit, and I prefaced this already. When you get Lamar in your sights, put him on the ground.
Yeah.
The Bengals would have beat the Ravens because they rushed him all night. They had him running around and they was like almost there. And I was like, oh my God, just hit him.
Yeah.
So that's what we have to do this week. Lamar, there ain't no super scrambles and all whatever else, bro. You're going to get hit. And I think by him losing that weight, like he said, he ain't got hit like how you going to get hit all year. So we're going to see Lamar. We're going to see Ravens this week. Because the only receiver that worries me is a tight end, Andrews. That's the only guy. Do we, in that matchup, will they be able to try to exploit us? Because Andrews is a great tight end wide receiver, whatever you want to put him. But everybody else, I ain't worried about him.
Here's the thing with Lamar. You got to get pressure up the middle. When you let Lamar get to the edges, that's where you have your problems, is because he can run around, he gets around the edge, and then he gives you the dual threat of being able to run because Lamar can run and he can also throw. He is incredible from what he used to be as far as a passer. So much better now, Big G. So you got to get him on the ground, like you said, but you got to get pressure up the middle and keep him contained. And I think they don't run as much read option anymore, and they're not going to run a lot against the Steelers because what the Steelers have done and said, we're just going to hit you, Lamar. You can hand the ball off if you want, but in a read option situation, we take you, and we're going to hit you. Now, how many times are you going to allow for a free rusher just to hit your quarterback like that? They're not going to do that, and they don't do that much against the Steelers, and it ain't going to matter that you got Derrick Henry or not. We're going to hit your quarterback. And if we're going to hit your quarterback, how many times are you just going to let us do that? And I don't think it's going to be too many. I really don't. So that's where I think the key. Cam Hayward, again, got to be good. Keanu Benton, again, got to be good. Elandon Roberts, Patrick Queen, got to be good. So if you can stop the run and force them to throw, all that read option stuff's going to go out the window because TJ Watt and Herbig and Preston Smith, they're going to hit Lamar. Anytime they read option, they're going to hit Lamar, and that's all they're going to do. Let somebody else worry about the running back. And I think that's the key to how you beat the Baltimore Ravens is hit Lamar and get him on the ground.
Defensively all day and night. Defensively, that's what you do. And we got to play press, man. We got to listen, I understand they got them little scat back wide receivers, man. And I understand we got avatars. But man, listen, press them boys. Listen, they little. They're 5'9", 5'8", 5'7". They little bitty fellas. If you throw the timing completely off if they can't get off of the line of scrimmage. So press them. Press them because B, we talked about this. 1001, 1002, somebody's hit Lamar. Absolutely. And that's how it's got to be this week, bro. That's how it's got to be.
Zay Flowers, somebody put in the chat, our man Clayton put in the chat. Zay Flowers is pretty good. I like Zay Flowers, but you can get your hands on him. You got to be able to get your hands on those guys. If you can do that, then you got an opportunity to shut down what they're trying to do. The other receiver, Bateman, I don't believe in Bateman, not even a little bit. Deontay Johnson, he can't find his feet. He has no idea what's going on. Maybe he plays big because he's coming back against Pittsburgh. Maybe he does, but I'm not worried about Deontay Johnson. And the Ravens aren't even worried about Deontay Johnson at this point. So we'll see what happens. But I like this matchup and flip it over to the offensive side for what the Steelers are going to be able to do. Because you mentioned it, Big G. Mike Williams is going to be more involved. He's going to be more involved. And the more that he's involved, that just opens up for him. It opens up for Freiermuth. But more importantly, it's going to open it up more for George Pickens. George Pickens was able to dominate the Ravens last year when it was really just him because Deontay was out that first game. He was hurt. And it was really just George, and he was able to make enough plays. And we have a much better quarterback now. I am looking forward to what the Steelers can do against that Ravens secondary. Now, we got to protect. We got to
Facts.
pass protect. But if we
Facts.
can protect, the Steelers are going to have a field day, in my opinion.
Bro, let me just say this, man. That little bitty midget that they got on the corner, Wiggins that they got on a Clemson to play corner.
Yeah.
I dare listen, Baltimore. I dare you. I dare you to single up against either one of our avatar wide receivers. Go single press. But B, man, this is the thing too. You prefaced this last week. Tight end involvement this week is critical because they're probably not going to have Kyle Hamilton. That boy's still walking around in a boot over there trying to get ready, and I don't think he's going to be ready. So if they don't have Kyle Hamilton in the middle, man, run Darnell Washington, Fryermuth, Pruitt, Hayward, run them up the seam. Run them up the seam and make them, that forces the action because now all you got to do is hit one or two of those passes. And now you got to come out of the defense that you were going to run trying to put press on Russie. So when Russie walks up to the line, he's going to see 7 in the box, audible, run left, audible, run right. When they start pressing and they try to put more than 7 or 8 in the box and push down, okay, we're going to go to the pass. So it's easy to dissect, to figure out which guy's going to do what, how, and when. But the issue is we got to press them versus letting them take the action to us. We got to go with them in the seams, on the outside, push the ball vertically all day and night. That will open up the run game. Believe me, it will. Because come third, fourth quarter, Baltimore's interior defensive line is going to be gassed. Roquan Smith can't cover everybody. So if he's running with Washington, who's running with Fryermuth? So I'm telling you, vertically is the key to the game for the Steelers. Go vertical all day and night, and that will open up the run game, man.
Yep, absolutely. Because I feel like the Ravens are going to drop a safety down to try to take the run away. And if they do, the Steelers got to be ready to throw the football over their head. It's the same thing that Washington did. Washington said, we're not going to let you run it. We're going to drop an extra guy down. Anytime we were in hell, Big G, when we were in 13 personnel, Washington was putting 9 people in the box.
Yeah.
They said, you are not going to run the football. So we just got to be able to check, get the ball out over our head, over their head, I should say, and get this thing moving. I like where the Steelers, I like this matchup. I do. I'm excited for it. Should be a really good game. But I'm ready for this, man. But Big G, man, we're going to shut this one down, man. I'll be honest. My face is literally killing me, man.
That baby was throbbing. I can see
it is throbbing. So first off, let everybody know where they can find you, man, and then we'll shut this thing down.
For sure, man. Thanks again for rocking with us this week, man, on the big show every week that's going to be over here on Steelers Almighty. But you can find me across the canvas. I'm over on Steel Curtain Network. I'm rocking with those guys. I got shows on Wednesdays and on Fridays. It's Pump Your Brakes Wednesday, me, Tate Boy Fresh, and Shannon White, the Triple OG. On Fridays with the Homies and Homies Overtime Podcast with Payday, as well as my boy B Dirt and Tate Boy Fresh. But Sundays is the homegrown, where this all started, KnoItAllz podcast. You can catch the KnoItAllz podcast every week, Sundays, live on YouTube with me, my boy Mod, my boy Tate Boy Fresh. We talk all football, but we get into a lot of shenanigans over there, not just football, but with basketball and everything else. Mondays, I do a college football level up college football podcast with my boy Andy P and Sarah C. No Cap Recap on Fans First Sports Network, where we talk all the NFL games. And hey, it's switching up to basketball season. So now we got That's Rather Cavalier, Cleveland Cavalier Basketball Podcast. Any of those things can be found on Steel Curtain Network, KnoItAllz channel on YouTube, and or Fans First Sports Network.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate everybody being in here. The big show. We're just getting started with this thing, man. We are literally just getting started with this thing. We're having a ton of fun. I appreciate you all, man. Thank you guys for showing up and showing out like you always do. Until next time, we will holler at you, man. Aloha.